Order, and we always start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you all rise and pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a quick note on our board, we actually have two brand-new members that are here tonight, and they are associate members. To my left is Nathan Weinrich, and he comes from the active duty in the Army. It is right now, thank you for your service. And he's right now pursuing a master's degree in finance. And to the right of me is, again, the rare sighting of a female on the zoning board. To all my years here, which is 20 plus, this is the first female that I've seen, and I welcome you with open arms. This is Alexandria Jacobs, and she comes to us as an attorney. Welcome, everyone. Okay, the next on our agenda is going to be the acceptance of minutes of June 23rd. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the June 23rd.
As written?
Second.
As written.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Committee reports, housing partnership, there is none. So what we're going to do is a discussion on the finding of a Woodridge development, which I think Attorney Smolak, you can get up here, or? Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and zoning board members. Thank you. I am Peter Freeman, for the record, Peter Freeman of Freeman Law Group, and I do represent the applicant, Woodridge Homes, Inc. In essence, and I'm not going to summarize all of the details that were in my July 16th, 2015 notice of project change, but we're here to request approval as an insubstantial change of a slight lot configuration. Basically, in essence, what happened, to set the stage, this is a very old development that was originally proposed and permitted by the Archdiocese of Boston back in 1974, and the comprehensive permit was granted by the Housing Appeals Committee in 1976 to 8, and it was built in 1978, and it's been here for, that's almost 40 years. So this is, in a way, sort of an involuntary change, which is why we're here for an insubstantial change. In the course of just doing a survey, there was a wire fence that appeared that it might be an encroachment, and it turns out it's been there even when the project was permitted. There's an area of about 20,485 square feet that the owners of the Roach Farm, and John Smolak does represent the James Roach Trust, the owners of the farm. Basically, when we saw that discrepancy, Brian Rowley is also here. He's with another firm that represents Woodridge, so he's together with me. They basically wound up talking to the neighbors through John, and it turned out that the most expedient thing to do was to basically do a lot reconfiguration, because the area in question has basically been fenced in and not, even though we thought it was part of the locus for this residential development, it actually has always been fenced off and was, it seems, more of the farm than of the development. So in a nutshell, because it's such a small area, about 20,485 square feet as my letter said, and there are three discrete locuses which we're proposing to transfer to the Roach Farm owners, and that is the subject of an agreement. So under the 40B regulations, and I do a lot of 40B work, under the 40B regulations, there is this procedure which I cited and explained that allows us to request a change as an insubstantial change, and because of the de minimis size involved and that it doesn't affect the operation of the project or anything that would be negatively affected or affected in any way whatsoever by the transfer of ownership, we're here to ask for approval as an insubstantial change. If you'd like me to go into more detail as to some of the guidelines in the regulations of what constitutes an insubstantial change, I could do that. Your secretary sent us a letter, I believe yesterday, from your town attorney or ZBA attorney, Mr. Urbanski, that said that based on the facts that we set forth, which, oh, sorry about that, I forgot to turn it off. I apologize. that he, based on the facts that we presented, which, are accurate, that he did believe it was an insubstantial change. The only quick thing I will mention, and then I will stop and see if you have questions, is there are general guidelines, and there's nothing hard and fast in the regulations that talk about changes of 10% as a standard, just a guideline, that if there's a change in area of 10% or more, or increase in units of 10% or more, that could be considered, it's still your discretion, as a substantial change, which then doesn't mean it's denied, it just means that you would, have a public hearing. This is so far under that, it's 1.4 something percent as a total of the 31 acres that we, do believe confidently that it is an insubstantial change and really has no impact. So I'll stop there, and if you have any questions, we did pass out the we did submit the plan. If you need us to pull out a big one, we can do that, but I'll stop, as I said.
I do have a couple questions. So you're not affecting the amount of units at the home?
No, it's staying exactly the same.
Okay,
Yep.
of the Woodridge development? Okay.
Yep, there's no change whatsoever other than these 3 small areas would be transferred to the owner of the Roach Farm. And by the way, I believe, do you have it with you, or was it already submitted, the Mylar? Because if you approve this, we also have the large Mylar plan, which, as you saw on what we submitted, has a place for endorsement, so that it would show that you approve the actual, specific configuration as shown on the plan. So do you do
Can I
have that?
ask
Okay, great.
Can I ask a question? I see the 3 small lots here. You were saying a lot of words I quite didn't understand. What's the purpose of transferring these 3 small lots?
Well, it's to, quite bluntly, and Mr. Smolak can certainly, explain from his viewpoint. He represents the Roach Trust, as I said. Basically, it's to resolve a land use dispute. They believe that they've owned it. I believe they are asserting that they own it by adverse possession, and it just didn't make sense to get into a, protracted dispute over something like that.
Well, hold on. Right now, Woodridge owns this land.
By deed, yes.
Woodridge, by deed, owns these 3 yellow areas.
Yes.
And you want to give that to the Roach family?
Yes.
You're going to give it to it, or you're going to sell it to them?
Well, there's an agreement, but I don't know for sure what the...
I don't think that pertains to the part of the 40B, Alan. I mean, but if he's certainly willing to explain the agreement, then...
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave that to John, and I'm not being, I'm not being evasive in any way. It's just that I have not negotiated that agreement, so I don't recall the details. Again, I would say I agree it's not really relevant, but, Mr. Smollett can certainly speak to that if you would like him to.
Woodridge is giving up land
Correct.
to Roach?
Correct.
Okay. And how does this benefit Woodridge?
Well, it resolves in a couple of ways. It resolves a potential dispute, and I don't want to say that there would be litigation, but potentially, and it just doesn't make sense to, be involved in that. Once a discrepancy, was found, just make sure that the lender, involved is satisfied that, title is straightened out, and if there were to be the loss of the land, that we will have taken the proactive step of sharing that with you folks and getting the blessing, so to speak. So those are the benefits. Just, quite honestly, it in all likelihood could have been ignored. It's, to me, so small, but we thought that the right thing to do was just to resolve it amicably, both with the neighbor and come here with, being very straightforward with you folks. So that's what it accomplishes.
And by law, you have to come to the zoning board.
I'm sorry?
By law, you have to come to this board because it is a 40B.
Correct, exactly. That's how the
Just to
40B statute
yep.
works, and, it's the right thing to do to come.
Agreement of the development.
That's right.
This land that's in question is just vacant land?
Oh, yeah, it's
No
vacant.
parking on it?
No, nothing whatsoever.
vacant land.
Correct, exactly. In fact, as I say, it basically follows where the wire fence, turns out, had been for some, I don't know this is my personal knowledge, but obviously Mr. Smolak and his client are aware of that. It showed up on the survey, and apparently it's been fenced basically like that for 60 years. So it was never even, part of the project other than technically on paper.
Hi, Madam Chair has just asked me to read into the record the letter from Town Council opining on the matter. Dear Ms. McIntyre, at your request, we've reviewed the information provided in the email from Attorney John Smolik to you dated July 30th, 2015, in which he sets out the reasons and provisions of the 40B regulations, 760 CMR 56, that support the position that the decrease of 19,619 square feet of the land area of the Woodridge Homes property, or approximately 1.45%, would be considered an insubstantial change to the project. After reviewing the information submitted by Attorney Smolak, assuming that the facts as he presents them are accurate, we would agree that it is consistent with the guidance provided in 40B regulations to consider a reduction of 1.45% of the land area of the project, where none of the units would be affected, to be an insubstantial change to the project. Please let us know if you have any further questions. Very truly yours, Tom Robles. So with that, I have two questions. The first is, this is clearly an insubstantial change. Town council has said so. The regulations seem to indicate as much. Common sense seems to indicate as much. The question I would have is, in the history of this project, do we have substantial or insubstantial changes over the years? Because if we have 10 of these 1.45%, then they obviously add up to something significant.
Yeah, no, to the best of my knowledge, as affirmed by Brian's firm, that is regular counsel to the owners, no. I don't believe there's been any changes whatsoever, and certainly no changes that, took off portions of the parcel.
Great, thank you. And the second question I have is on the northeast corner of the building adjacent to Lot B. Are we running into any setback questions?
I'm glad you asked that, because I meant to summarize it in my remarks tonight. I did mention in my letter, no, we made sure, and that actually is the reason for some of the odd shape and, different configuration. We made sure that we complied with setback. So we're all set with that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the board that has any questions? Attorney Smolak, did anyone have any questions for Attorney Smolak, who's representing Roach Farm? Did you want to get up, John, or you rather? Okay. Okay, is the board all set? And do you need any more information, or?
No, seems pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
If it helps, and not to be presumptuous, but I drafted a short little motion, which would be a vote and a brief decision, which I can pass it out, and if you don't want to take a look, that's fine. If you do, it might be useful. It's up to you, Madam Chairman.
Sure. Doesn't necessarily say we'll use it, but making our job easier is nice. Yep.
Try to bother you. If you don't use it, that's fine. The vote's on top, and then a short decision, which really just restates the vote.
The next time I don't need help will be the first time, so.
Yeah. What I would say, though, is I wanted to make sure that it votes to, that assuming that you approve it as insubstantial, that you also vote to endorse the Mylar, endorse the plan.
Did you want to read this, or? I don't think we've ever done this on a finding.
Do we have a notice or anything to read from? So
No,
maybe-
because it's just a finding, discussion decided it's an insubstantial change or not.
At a glance, just for the sake of completeness and accuracy, this seems to be indicating 20,185 square feet in the motion, and the letter I just read said 19,000 something.
That was Mr. Urbanski's letter, and he only, I guess, saw the biggest parcel. In my letter, what we did was we totaled the three areas, two of which are quite small. So the correct area is the 20,000, I think it was 20,485. 185.
All right, that's not impactful to Attorney Herbalist's letter, seeing as the percentage still remains the same.
Yeah, it was 20,185, which is what you just read as in the vote I handed out, 20,185.
Again, for this, since I'm going to be the poor guy who's got to read the thing, the plan referenced in the motion is the plan that was presented to the board, and that is the Mylar that Angela has?
Correct.
Okay.
That's why he's on my right. As chair, I'm sorry, I can't entertain a motion or anything, but I'll entertain anything from the board about the finding.
Well, doesn't he have to read it first?
Well, if we're going to make a motion, are we going to make a motion? You're going to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Kusia? All right, then the motion is that the board vote, one, to find that the changes proposed in the July 16, 2015 notice of project change submitted by Peter L. Freeman of Freeman Law Group LLC on behalf of Woodridge Homes, Inc., which such changes are lot line configuration changes which reduce the project locus by 20,185 square feet, plus minus, and in parentheses, 1.494% plus minus, as shown on a plan entitled Plan of Land Located in North Andover, Essex County, Mass., 10 Woodridge Drive, prepared by Eastern Land Survey Associates, Inc., dated July 9, 2015. There are insubstantial changes pursuant to 760 CMR 56.05, subsection 11, and 760 CMR 56.07, subsection 4, and that they are therefore approved. And second, to endorse the proposed plan. Motion made. I will second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Nope. Okay.
Thank you very much. Shall we leave the plan? I don't need to interrupt the rest of your meeting. You just leave the plan and you sign it.
Yep, you can come pick it up. We'll have it signed for you for tomorrow. We usually do
Great.
that at the end of the meeting.
Okay,
right,
great.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we're actually gonna,
Sorry, for the record,
sorry?
do we have a record of who voted on that, just for Angela? Voting members, non-voting members?
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, now that you're a regular member. And we use Denny.
So
Right.
it's fine.
Yep, 5. Well, the guys let you vote next month. Just can't, like, make it all in one.
Are you sworn in with the clerk?
Yes.
They're both sworn in,
They
I'm
both are
sorry. Yep.
brilliant. All right,
Yep,
thanks.
so they can legally be here
Great.
within the guidelines.
Angela, for the record, the vote was Alan, Ellen, Paul, Doug, and Denny. And all of us have to remember to sign after the meeting.
Angela will tell us. All right, so we're going to go a little bit out of order. So what we're going to do is, since you're all here for the new public hearing, the applicant has requested a continuance, but we will read it into the record and open up the hearing just to get that going. So
Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the North Andover Town Hall, 120 Main Street, North Andover, Massachusetts, on Tuesday, August 11th, 2015, at 7:30 p.m. to all parties interested in the petition of Jose Resendez for the property located at 3335 3rd Street, map 30, parcel 21, North Andover, Massachusetts, 01845. A special permit for the R4 zoning district is needed. Applicant is requesting to convert the existing two-family into a four-family. Under the zoning bylaw, section 4.122D, special permit granting criteria for two-family dwelling and one-family to two-family or multifamily conversions, B, the right to apply for a special permit to convert an existing dwelling shall extend to any dwelling to be converted for use as a dwelling of not more than 5 residential units, and meeting all requirements of the state and town statutes and bylaws, including health codes, building codes, zoning laws, and zoning bylaws. Application and supporting materials are available for review at the Office of the Zoning Department, 1600 Osgood Street, Suite 2035, North Andover, Mass., Monday through Friday during the regular office hours by the order of the Board of Appeals, Albert P. Manzi, III, Esquire, Chairman.
the applicant has actually submitted a request for continuance until the September 8th, Angela, meeting. Is that when it is? Which is the day after Labor Day. So it's a Tuesday after Labor Day. So this is in the record, so yeah, a motion to continue without prejudice, because they did sign off.
Motion to continue to September 8th, 2015, at 7:30, Angela, here at Town Hall?
I'll second the motion.
I'm not taking any evidence, and I'm actually not hearing. It's actually it's the applicant's right to continue. So it is their right to continue, absolutely, without prejudice. And they did sign a time waiver, which is our official stamp. So we will meet on September 8th, and all your evidence will be heard. I won't take any comments, motions, anything on this matter until we do open it up and we have all the evidence in front of us. So I apologize. I'm glad you all came down. I hope to see you in September, and we can discuss it further and go into details about the application. So the motion's on the table. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Was it seconded?
Yep, by,
Alan?
okay.
Do all of you people understand that if you want to be heard, you have to be here at the next meeting? I understand.
We brought people back.
I don't understand.
How many times can he ask for this continuance? Can he do it again?
I think so.
Yep.
Do you realize that's the first day of school for anyone who's a teacher or a parent?
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't make the process. This is the process, this is the guidelines of the,
It seems
of the law.
very unusual.
It does not. It's actually kind of, it's common for an application to continue.
To convert it to that day. That's extremely inconvenient.
It's just how the months fall. This is when they submit it. This is just how it is. So we will actually, I won't hear any more evidence or anything, any comments more on this. We're going to continue on with our meeting, and we hopefully will see you all here in September.
One question?
Nope, that's it. I'm all set. Thank you.
Mr. Kusha, you
I'm all
asked for
set. Thank you.
Excuse me?
You asked for questions. You said.
Okay, I'm all set, and I won't hear anything else regarding this matter. So again, I will see you all in September. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to continue on. We actually are still in a public meeting, so I'd appreciate letting us continue on. Thank you. Okay, we're going to continue on to our continued public meetings, which is Janet Eckler? Eckler? Eichler, I'm sorry. Jerry's not here today, huh? I thought Jerry'd be here.
You don't have the notice
Original, I
from
do,
last time, you
yes.
do?
I do. Thanks.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the board. I'm here again to revisit my application for the proposed addition to my home, single-family dwelling and in-law apartment. I have evidence from the Civil Watch architect which demonstrates that my addition does not exceed 25% of the gross floor area of the unit. Are you in receipt of this also?
I have it in my packet, so.
So, but that being the case, Madam Chair, you may or may not recall at the last meeting, this petition came up, and we had a rough time with the arithmetic as it was presented to the board. This supplemental letter, notice, evidence, whatever it is, it gives math that is much more accommodating to the bylaw, and so we are well within the bylaw, which was my concern last time.
That was mine, yep.
And with these calculations, I no longer have any concerns about this application.
Is there any other discussion from the board?
No. My question is, the board voted no for the first time, so do we have to make a reconsideration vote?
We already did that the last time. We opened it up, we reconsidered the vote, and then the applicant chose to continue it until further
Okay.
evidence was presented.
So that being the case, Madam Chair, I would make a motion to approve the petition.
I think we have to close it first, isn't
We have
it?
to
Yeah.
make a motion to close.
We'll
then.
make a motion. Someone make a motion to close. Danny made the motion to close? No, I can't make a motion.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
And Danny second? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now a motion to approve the petition, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
And I'll solicit a second from any live body at the board.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Good.
What I will do is I will read the legal notice to get it into the record. The motion is to approve a special permit to allow for a family suite from 4.1 to 2.22 of the zoning bylaws in the R4 zoning district, and this is regarding 11 Tyler Road, map 33, parcel 7, North Andover, Massachusetts, the petition of Janet Eichler.
Okay. Anyone second?
That is done. We seconded and approved, and then I just,
Do you want to reference any plans? Nothing?
do we have plans?
And the
I'm
Silver
not ready
Watch?
for more plans, Madam Chair.
And the Silver Watch and
To that end, we have a handful of plans, Madam Chair. They're Eichler Residence Edition, 11 Tyler Road, North Andover, Massachusetts, prepared by Joel David Silverwatch. And there is a Plan A1, revised construction drawings of 5/19/2015. And we have an A2, same date, and an A3, same date. There's the letter correcting the calculations dated June 25th from Silverwatch Architects. That's it. Then more mitfuls of plan. No, there's not a mitful. One more. We have a plan of land in North Andover, Massachusetts, prepared for owner applicant Janet Eichler, 11 Tyler Road, North Andover, Mass, dated May 26, 2015, prepared by Merrimack Engineering Services, 66 Park Street. I think I said it, dated May 26, 2015, signed by Stephen E. Stupinski, RLS. I think that's the extent of the supporting materials, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anyone second that? Alan second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So we'll actually continue on to some correspondence.
Yours back.
Thank you, this is my recycled paper. So, we have a finding waiver, which is kind of, I've never seen this before, but this is,
Sorry, can we just tell the applicant?
oh, I'm sorry.
She's gonna
I'm
receive-
sorry. You see,
You're all set.
She's gonna receive.
you were actually all set.
You got the
Make sure-
silver, not the microwave.
She's gonna receive a
Okay.
letter.
Yeah, make sure you file it within the registry of deeds within,
Well, first you have to, I have to do the decision.
yep.
You'll sign it.
I'll sign it, Angela, I sign them pretty quick. Angela will let you know when it's ready, make sure you file with the registry of deeds. And you're all set, you're all good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I gotta find that, it was actually with that other application under silver. Just give me a second, I'm sorry. This pertains to Osgood. That's there. I just gotta find my correspondence, I'm sorry. Mass Housing. Berry Farms. Okay, so we'll do the Mass Housing one first. This is just a letter from Mass Housing, the final approval letter from Berry Street. Just don't know if anyone got a chance to, this is just a miscellaneous correspondence.
Not
There's
going to
no.
make me read it, Madam Chair.
No, I am not.
It's been done,
There's no, it's just if you want to discuss it. If not, it's just something to read in there that the final letter is being approved by Mass Housing, so they will start continuing their progress on Berry Farms. And then I think they're in the middle of submitting final plans that can be at the town hall, or the applicant can send them to us if they want. They are meeting with the town on Wednesday, Jerry, is it? Berry Street?
Yes, they're meeting with some of the players.
For the Berry Street development. I have a meeting with them next week with all of the inspectors to
Okay.
go over the code analysis, because we're still performing that. So it hasn't been approved yet by my office, but they're pushing forward on it.
Okay. So if anyone wanted to comment to Angela, that they can pass on to the members of the whoever's reviewing it. Who's reviewing it, Jerry? You are,
My electrical inspector, my plumbing and gas inspector, and Eric Cafoy.
who's our community developer, who'll be reviewing it
Right.
as the final plans.
And
So they are
he's
available.
approved the number of units, the number of parking spaces that was so written in the decision so far.
Okay.
And right now, they're working on the bond payments, which will happen tomorrow, I believe, and that's with Conservation and the Department of Public Works. And then we'll move forward from there until the following week.
So part of our process is, before anything actually goes forward, it comes to the board as well for review. So we do have the right to review this and have input to make sure that there's checks and balances in place for us as well as the town workers, and the developer, and the neighbors, and the residents. All right, so that's that one. That's Mass Housing. Okay. Then there is a waiver timeframe, where's that one?
That's for Oxford Street.
Yes. There's a waiver on Osgood Street to have a special meeting on August 25th, which I actually will not be here because I'll be on vacation. We're not quite sure if there will be a quorum. So they signed a waiver for a special meeting on the 25th. I'm not sure if everyone can make it, but this will, a little more detail on the solar panels. That's that. And again, it's hard to have 2 meetings in August with vacations and holidays and...
Just ask Rick Byers.
I remember that.
And then we have this correspondence in here on, we actually have 2 in here. We have one for you, Jerry, on the residents of Forest Street with issues with the landscaping on Berry Street.
Yeah, they've been notified several times.
Okay.
Allowed. And maybe they'll have zoning enforcement there.
Okay, so this is, they're just concerned about that work is being done, or is it?
No, they're worried about the business being operated in the residential zone, which is not allowed.
Okay, and the outcome was? I can't see it, Jerry. You gotta help me.
Well, let me see which one. On the Forest Street.
Right, the Forest Street, I'm sorry.
I think all Jerry was reporting is that there's an enforcement action
Yeah,
currently
and
pending.
there's been enforcement action. What happened at DT Landscaping was the fact that the prior owner removed the landscaping business.
Okay.
And then there was a death in the family. Some new people from the family got hold of the building. DT Landscaping showed up with trucks just as of a couple of days ago, and I've recited with the new owners, so I have to wait a statutory 30 days before I can go further on the enforcement.
Okay, great. Okay, we actually have one more correspondence here on Dana Street. Is this what are you guys here for Dana Street? You just want to? Thank you for staying. There was a concerned resident on Dana Street about an in-law apartment. So I think, I don't think you did this one, Jerry.
There's no violation there.
No violation,
Just
so you
an
checked
upset
everything out?
neighbor didn't do any action after they got their special permit. The building is erected today. They're in rough stages right now, and it's appropriately as conditioned at the zoning board.
Okay, and just a comment on one of the statements that was here, that just reminded everyone that we are a volunteer board. We all do this on our own time. We don't get paid. We're concerned residents of the town. What we do is we try to take care of everything in the town. We try to enforce the bylaws. 2 new young members in here, which is great. So to be heard, if you don't like the process, there's always openings on all these boards. They're all volunteer. So one of the comments was that we weren't doing our job, and I actually think we're doing a really good job. So, motion to adjourn.
You took the bait, Madam Chair.
I did. I did.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Doug second.
Doug, say all those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.